Tons of people are moving to Milton, Ontario, and I mean tons. Just over 10 years ago, Milton was named one of the fastest growing cities in Canada, but that has created a lot of problems for the town. And so if you're thinking of moving to Milton, then there are a bunch of things that you need to consider, like traffic and the fact that you need a car to get everywhere, and most importantly, well, I'll save that one for the end. So stay tuned because I'm about to drop the top 7 cons of moving to Milton, Ontario. Hey everyone, I'm Rochelle, and if this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. This is where I show you everything that you need to know about living, working, eating, sleeping, playing, the good and the bad of Toronto, Ontario, and the surrounding areas like right here in Milton. As a real estate agent here for the last 7 years, I've been helping people just like you make the move to Toronto, Ontario, and I love it. So if you're planning on making a move to anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, then give me a shout. All of my contact info is down below, and I'd be happy to help you make that smooth move to Toronto. But for now, let's get into the first con of living in Milton, which is the traffic. Because Milton grew so fast in its early phases of development, circa early 2000s, the infrastructure just couldn't keep up. Tons of subdivisions were being built all over the place, but not enough roads. And so now there's a lot of traffic and congestion when you're trying to get to work in the morning or coming home around dusk. If you live in South Milton, for example, that's just 10 kilometers away from the highway, you can expect a 20-minute drive before you even hit the 401. Now, that does lead me to my next point, which is that you do need a car. Milton is your typical suburban town where you've got local shops and restaurants in the downtown core, but outside of the town center, you are going to need a car to get to your everyday conveniences like grocery shopping or the gym. In most parts of Milton, your walk score is not going to be that high. And unfortunately, if you don't have access to a vehicle, then your public transportation options are quite limited as well. Bus schedules are usually active only on the weekends or weekdays and Saturdays, but traveling at night or on Sundays might be a little more challenging because stops aren't as frequent. Another thing you need to know about Milton is that it has a very limited arts and culture scene too. When it comes to theater, museums, and the like, Milton pretty much has none of that. Milton was initially founded as an industrial area and since then hasn't really fostered much of an art scene. I mean, there is the Ontario First Art Centre, which is a newer, modern-looking venue that hosts gallery exhibitions, art workshops, programs, and events, but aside from that, the art scene does tend to be a bit lacking. Education options you'll find quite limited as well. There are tons of preschools, elementary and high schools all over Milton, but no post-secondary options at all. So if you are a parent and you plan on sending your kids to college or university, then you'll have to go out of town to nearby schools like Wilfrid Laurier University in Waterloo or Mohawk College in Hamilton. There are other schools in the city of Toronto that you can go to. For example, Toronto is home to a bunch of world-class institutions like the University of Toronto and even Humber College. But my next con is that getting to Toronto, which is the closest, biggest major city, is actually quite far away. From the easternmost tip of Milton to the westernmost tip of Toronto, that's an easy 50 kilometers or 50-minute drive on a good day. So even though Milton is considered part of the Greater Toronto Area, it does sit on the outskirts of GTA, making the city of Toronto feel like a whole nother world away. And in many ways, Milton and Toronto are very different, especially if you're looking at entertainment options. Milton is a small town made for people who want a slower pace of life. If you're used to and want the hustle and bustle of a larger city, then you may be disappointed with Milton's lack of activity. It is a quieter part of the GTA, and although it might not make or break your decision to ultimately move to Milton, the lack of entertainment options here is definitely something worth noting. But that does beg the question, with all these cons of living in Milton, everything that I just mentioned, why are people still choosing to move to Milton? Well, as a real estate agent here for the last 7 years, I can tell you what locals have really come to appreciate about this small town and why people from all over Canada are looking to call Milton home. For starters, Milton's cost of housing is relatively low. Relatively is the key word here. I think we can all agree that house prices in all of Toronto are very high. Statistically, this is one of the most expensive metropolitans in North America, but on a relative basis, when you're comparing Milton to other suburbs across the GTA, then you will find lower to average price points in Milton. The most common type of home here is a detached house, and the average price of a detached house here is $1.56 million. That may sound high, I get it, but compare that to the average price of a detached house in Burlington, which is just next door. That's $1.8 million. Or its neighbor Mississauga to the east, that's $1.9 million. Then Milton does start to look a lot more attractive. And along the same lines, if you're looking at property taxes, Milton's are appealingly low as well. Currently sitting at a 3.4% residential property tax rate. That's a lower cost to living compared to nearby Oakville, for example. They're at 3.9%, or even Brampton, which also has more affordable real estate, but their property taxes are 5.2%. So that's why many families have been moving to Milton over the last decade, because of the more affordable real estate options here, although I do mean families specifically. My number 3 pro of living in Milton is that it is very family friendly. It has a small town charm that's safe for young kids, lots of parks and activities for children. And while a lot of schools in Toronto are closing down, Milton can barely keep up, or you're seeing some schools that are housing 4, 5, or even 6 kindergarten classes at a time. So the growth of families moving here is pretty phenomenal. One of my personal favorite things about Milton is that, and especially if you can appreciate nature, you get beautiful views of the Niagara Escarpment. The escarpment is a huge bedrock that more or less starts along the Niagara River and then makes its way through Milton. And so from many places around town, you do get beautiful views of this natural wonder. Many residents can enjoy the sights and sounds of the escarpment right from their own backyard. And then to go along with scenic views of nature and greenery around you, there are tons of conservation areas for nature lovers to enjoy as well. Rattlesnake Point, they offer over 700 acres of hiking and rock climbing. And then from there, there's actually a trail that leads to Crawford Lake, which is one of less than 40 meromictic lakes in the world. A meromictic lake is one where the layers of the waters don't mix. And so it's a very popular tourist attraction for visitors to Milton as well. Hilton Falls, that's popular amongst locals because it has a nice waterfall and fire pit that you can use. And then there's Kelso Conservation, which has a nice beach and warm water to swim in come spring and summer. There are actually tons of outdoor activities to take part in, no matter the season. Residents enjoy hiking, biking, and other outdoor recreation throughout the year. Plenty of golf courses like Trafalgar Golf and Country Club and Halton Country Golf. And of course, there's Glen Eden, where you can ski or snowboard or even take lessons through their snow school as well. So in terms of outdoor play, Milton has you covered, because really, where else can you find a ski hill and a beach within 15 minutes from your front door? And then last but not least, the 7th pro of living in Milton is that it does have a nice community feel. The town hosts many events throughout the year. Popular amongst locals is the Milton Farmers Market, which is one of the best places to spend a Saturday morning. Open mid to late May, it is a yearly summer staple with vendors showcasing fresh produce, talent, and artisans from all around town. And the Downtown Milton Street Festival is another popular annual street festival that takes place in June. That's where you're going to get your daily dose or yearly dose of fun and entertainment. They usually have food trucks along Main Street, and you're likely to see people from all across the GTA attend this festival to get a taste of what Milton has to offer. So there you have it. Those are your top pros and cons of living in Milton, Ontario. And truth be told, the cons aren't that bad, especially now that you know what they are and you know what to expect. You can easily find yourself living comfortably in this beautiful town. And so if you are considering making that move to Milton, Ontario, then definitely give me a shout. I would love to help you out, whether that's in 9 days or 90 days. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or even schedule a Zoom call, all down in the description below. I'd be happy to help you and your family make that smooth move to Toronto. Until then, check out this video I made on the top neighborhoods in Milton that people are moving to. You get drive-bys of the area so you can see the houses and nearby amenities up close and personal. I walk you through neighborhood demographics, safety ratings, schools in the area, also that you get a full picture of what it's like to live in Milton, Ontario. And so give it a watch. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you are the first to know about the current real estate market in Milton and the surrounding Greater Toronto area. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys around town.